It is more than I wanted to spend.
This is slow right here.
Oh yeah?
You're walking downhill.
Oh man. Long story short, we're raising the budget a little bit. Was this the smartest decision? I don't know. Obviously like a big downgrade. We did not get it. I am moving to New York City from Dallas, Texas in 1 month. I am so excited and a little scared, especially for the apartment search. I'm trying to find an apartment solo in New York City. I've been looking on StreetEasy for years, but it stresses me out to not be able to plan far in advance because as of right now, I'm leaving in less than a week and it is too early to even get a showing planned. So I'm just like, oh, that is so stressful. Hopefully it's worth it and hopefully I find a really good place. Yay! I don't know for sure what neighborhood I want to live in. Wow. But I'm going to be taking y'all along with me on this journey to try to figure out how to get an apartment in New York City when I'm just a Texas girl, okay? It's a whole process, it's a whole thing. I have enough savings to pay for a studio or 1-bedroom apartment for a full year. So that is what I'm doing because I love living alone. I lived alone in college. I just love it so much. And I feel like finding a roommate, especially moving to New York for the first time, is really hard because you don't necessarily want to just find someone random from the internet, people with the same timing as you, similar values, don't have a cat because I'm severely allergic to cats and I feel like everybody in New York has a cat. Here we are moving alone, but I'm actually very excited about it. Hopefully I can find a really good place. That's what I'm praying for. My name is Camille. I just graduated my BFA in musical theater from Missouri State University over a year ago. I was born and raised in the DFW area in Texas and I love it here, but my dream is not here. I also love New York and I've always wanted to move there and I'm so excited to. I was planning on moving last summer and did not have as solid of plans as I do now, first of all, so glad it didn't really work out because I had no idea what I was doing. But I booked a national tour and that is why I did not move last year. So I just kind of lived at my parents' place, hello, like I am now, for my transition period between college and going on the tour. I did the tour for 9 months straight and now I'm off of it and now it's time to move to the city and I'm so excited. Let's go. It is currently Thursday. My dad and I are leaving for New York in 2 days to start looking at apartments. We signed the contracts with the realtor and that was kind of scary to do because it is a lot of extra money to use a realtor, but coming from Texas and not having any experience moving to New York, obviously, and my parents not knowing much about New York either, I think it is going to save us a lot of stress and hassle. I've been super thorough on my wants with the realtor and I sent her a whole list of my ideals in an apartment yesterday just so she had a really big picture. My dad and I are getting together all of the documents that we need to apply for an apartment right now because if you don't know, you basically need a guarantor to sign with you in order to get one, basically, because you have to make an insane amount of money over the rent to be able to get approved. And I don't even have a job right now, technically. It's not gonna go well for me alone, for sure. I would never get one, but I do have enough money to pay for it by myself, saved up. So even though I can pay for it on my own, I still need a guarantor to sign with me. And that's gonna be my dad, and that's why he's going with me, and just for me to have help. Some of my wants in an apartment are a dishwasher. I really want that. I would love to have an in-unit washer dryer. I'm willing to spend a lot more money to have an in-unit washer dryer, but I at least want it in the building. I personally don't want to have to leave the building and go to a laundromat in order to do laundry. I find that very annoying. I like the fact that if it's in the building, I can at least go up and do productive things in my apartment. And if I'm in a laundromat, I would just want to stay there the whole time. So I just don't like that. I love the New York City apartments that have like the big windows that are like almost floor to ceiling. I love a bigger window. Don't know if I'm gonna get that. That's just like an ideal. I want a newer or more updated building that has updated kitchen and bathroom. I want modern appliances, like stainless steel appliances. That's a big one for me. I don't think I would sign for an apartment that has older appliances. And I'm looking for a studio or a 1-bedroom. And I think that's pretty much it that I can think of. I want it to be within 30 to 40 minute commute out of Manhattan. And I honestly am looking at Manhattan and Queens and maybe Brooklyn, I don't even know. But I'm looking at a couple of boroughs, not just Manhattan, because I would rather live in a little bit of a bigger place than a really tiny place for the same price that's not as nice in Manhattan. Okay, yeah, see you in New York. Happy Saturday. We are leaving today to go to New York. My realtor already FaceTimed me today to show me 2 different apartments in the same building. There were some places that were only available to show on Saturdays. My realtor still wanted me to see them, so she FaceTimed me and I saw them. So I saw 2 different ones in the same building. I think I might apply for one just in case. you know, we'll see, you never know. And then she's gonna call me again in like 2 hours to show me another building that is like a little farther from a train station, but is like nicer. So we'll see how I like that one. The two that she showed me were in my budget and they were 2 bedrooms and they were huge. Like crazy. Bear with me on these because these are screen recordings of FaceTimes that I have with the realtor, but this was the first apartment. Current residents were still living in it, obviously, but this was the bathroom. I felt like it was a kind of weird layout. This was a 2 bedroom that was actually my budget, which is crazy. And the first one was a little bit smaller, but it wasn't terrible. And then this bedroom was very decently sized and it had a huge walk-in closet. As you can see, it also has a in-unit washer dryer, which is a huge plus. That's something that I really, really want. And it also has a couple extra little closets in there, and that's kind of the living space, but hard because people were in it. I also did not start screen recording at the beginning of that one, so that's all you get to see for this one. Now for the second apartment, this one was empty and it was in the same exact building. I honestly think on the same floor. The living space, the kitchen, the first bedroom, which was the smaller one of the 2. The realtor was showing me these 2 bedrooms and she's like, oh, you can make one of them a self-tape studio, which is so smart. This one also had a washer dryer and unit. Love to see it. I felt like the bathroom had a more open layout than the other one, so I liked that better. And this second bedroom was really big as well. It had a fire escape, as you can see, and then this was just the building itself. And what it looked like, it was a walk-up. I think it was on the 3rd floor. Let's move on to the third one that I saw on FaceTime, which was also, again, in Astoria. There were so many people viewing this one at once. It was gorgeous with those giant windows, and it was a huge space, and this is a 1-bedroom apartment. The bathroom literally looks like a hotel bathroom. It's crazy. And the kitchen, obviously very nice. And there was also an in-unit washer dryer in that one. I loved this one and I wanted to apply just from seeing it on the video, but unfortunately they wouldn't let us because someone else applied, took it before we could even apply. Someone applied while they were there, which is crazy. That's kind of how the New York search goes. Same manager was also leasing in a different building, and this one was super nice too. And it was a 1-bedroom, but there's also this huge hallway space as well. In the bathroom, again, super nice, hotel vibes. And the bedroom was also very big, huge floor to ceiling windows there, and a big closet. And it also had a balcony. It was in my budget. I could not believe it. I applied and I actually was so dumb and I put money down on this. I don't know why. I hadn't even seen it in person. That was silly. Don't do that. I was just so stressed, and I felt like because that other one went like while someone was there, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get a place. That's why I did it. My dad and I arrived in New York Saturday night and we literally applied for that apartment while we were on the plane on the way there. And don't worry, I did end up getting my money back. Basically like the next day I had already regretted it. Like, wait, why did I do that without actually seeing it? I don't know. But putting money down on an apartment in NYC is not untypical. It's Sunday. We got into New York last night. Today we just had a fun day. We went to church, we rode city bikes around Central Park, and then we saw Maybe Happy Ending, which was so good. We went and we got dinner, and now we are going to go to Astoria, and we're gonna look at one of the buildings that I applied for yesterday. Was this the smartest decision? I don't know, but yes, applied for one that we saw a video of yesterday, so we're gonna look at it before we go further with that. And then we have our first actual showing that we're gonna see tomorrow. The night before, we looked at the Astoria apartment, and I did not feel super comfortable in that area. Here we are the next day on the 30 to 40 minute train ride to Inwood. I saw 2 different buildings in Inwood, and I'm so sorry I did not get any video of the first one, but I loved the second one more. These are both 1 bedrooms around the same price, and the first one did not have an in-unit washer dryer, and the second one did. And we actually saw 3 units in that building. So really, instead of apartment 5 and 6, this is really like apartment 5, 6, 7, 8, but we're not going to count that. The thing with New York City neighborhoods is that everyone's going to feel different in each one, and you just kind of have to figure out what you personally like and vibe with. And I did like Inwood more than Astoria, but it still was not my favorite. Throughout our search, I did keep going back to this apartment in Inwood because I did love the building and the unit so much. I just wasn't sold on the location, and that's why I kept looking. We just saw 2 different buildings in Inwood, which is like in the upper part of Manhattan. It's like the most uptown part of Manhattan, basically. We're gonna look around. I think my dad and I are gonna get city bikes, and we are going to ride around the park here because there's like some nice parks here, which is great. And the buildings were very nice. We're also going to explore different neighborhoods that I'm thinking about, because the hardest part about this is figuring out a neighborhood that I would like and feel comfortable in. So we're gonna ride around a lot of neighborhoods, pay for city bikes for the day, and just kind of do that and get back to the realtor. My dad and I, this is Mark.
Hi.
we got on bikes and we went around Inwood, and we were like gonna try to bike from Inwood down to like Upper West Side area. But that was hard to do because we're not used to that, obviously. Basically, we're just trying to figure out what areas I vibe with the most. And I've always liked the Upper West Side. But, you know, it's more expensive. So I was like, oh, I could get a nicer place somewhere else. But now I'm realizing neighborhood does feel more important than like niceness of the place. You want to feel like comfortable walking around and like wanting to walk around and liking all the things in your neighborhood. I feel like that's more important. We like walked around through Morningside Heights, where like Columbia is, and we walked through like Manhattan Valley, Upper West Side, and now we're in the Upper East Side, so we walked over there. And so I told our realtor, like, okay, let's look at those places because I like those just better.
We're worn out now. We're ready to eat.
Yeah, it's like,
Call it a day.
watch die. It did. What time is it?
5:46.
We've been going since like 11, so we're tired because we viewed the first places at 12. Tired and ready to be done, but glad to have explored more area of uptown Manhattan. And we haven't even looked at downtown, but I don't know. Hopefully we find stuff that we love here. And yeah, and we're just gonna take it chill and easy tonight. All the apartments that I've seen so far have been within my budget, and all the ones that you're going to see this day are going to be slightly over my budget, but not insanely over. Location change drives that price up. This first one in Morningside Heights was a 2-bedroom, and it had a washer dryer in unit, as you can see in the kitchen.
This is slow right here.
Oh yeah?
Walking downhill.
Oh man. But these bedrooms were both so tiny. Like I would barely be able to get a bed in either one of them. The living space was pretty decent, not bad at all. And I'm so sorry, y'all, I can't do it. I cannot look at a brick wall out the window. I would feel so trapped. And there was a dead roach on the floor. The vibe was just a no from me. I couldn't do it. Apartment number 9 was in the Upper West Side, and someone was currently living in this apartment. So then they were like, oh, by the way, you're not allowed to film in here. And there were so many people on the tour, so I only got this terrible video. Sorry about that. I also wasn't super feeling this one because someone on the tour was like, does the AC unit come with the apartment? And the girl was like, no. What? And we saw a 1-bedroom in Harlem, and this was definitely my favorite unit out of the 3. This was not a bad unit at all. I could see myself living in this one. It wouldn't be my favorite or most ideal. The living space had a lot of natural light, which I love, but there were like bars on the windows. And again, I feel trapped in here. Unfortunately, this apartment was a full no from me, and I wasn't even considering it after we went to a convenience store like pretty close to the apartment, and someone was rolling, you know what, in there. And then another woman came in and started screaming at the cashier saying that he didn't give her the right stuff. Not my favorite vibes as a 23-year-old woman living alone, unfortunately. After this day, I would have picked the Inwood apartment over those 3. Even though Inwood was not my favorite in terms of location of the neighborhood, I would have preferred that unit over these units in a more ideal location for me. We looked at 3 units that are kind of around Central Park-ish area, so like uptown, but not like as far uptown as we looked on Monday. And they were obviously like a big downgrade because it's just more expensive there for nicer buildings, and it is all like old buildings in those areas, basically, mostly. So long story short, we're raising the budget a little bit and seeing if we can find something better in that area with the more expensive price, and see if would prefer that over the nice place in the upper part of Manhattan, because I do think location is really important, but it is expensive because everyone likes certain locations, so that's the dilemma. As of right now, we have no idea what we're seeing tomorrow, and the realtor will just send us stuff when people reply, and that's kind of how it's going. It's just every night we just talk to the realtor and say, okay, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, and then she goes from there and helps us, which is very nice. So it saves us a lot of trouble.
My dad and I were at the Yankee game, and the realtor is calling me, and I can barely hear her because they're playing music every 5 seconds. I had told her what I didn't like about the units that I'd seen this day, and she was like, okay, there's not really much else that we can do like within your budget, or even like a couple $100 over my initial budget. But I had already decided that I wanted to see what we could get for a little bit more than that in the Upper West Side and in all of the areas surrounding the park. And it's crazy how much more like $200 to $400 gets you from like what we saw the day before. Now we are like no longer seeing 1-bedrooms. These were all studios that were in my budget, but very nice studios, like luxury building. There's an elevator. The view is insane in this apartment. It has a full kitchen, stainless steel, modern appliances, nothing for me to complain about except for just the size of the unit. I was expecting that and I really didn't have an issue with it. This was the first one that had actually felt right out of all the ones that we had seen. Even in Inwood, when we were viewing the unit, it was an amazing unit, amazing building. It was in my budget, but I did not feel right about it. Like in my gut, I knew it was wrong. And for this apartment, every aspect of it felt good to me. Then we saw another building in the Upper West Side. This one I also really liked. They had some like Murphy bed examples, which is really funny because my mom kept saying that to me, like, well, you should get a Murphy bed in New York. It didn't really have a full kitchen. This building used to be a hotel. It's not a full stove, and the oven and the microwave are the same thing. Solely because of that, it just wouldn't be for me because I do want a full kitchen.
We saw 2 other buildings today and I felt way better about these buildings in the area and everything. They were nicer buildings. So I think just the combo of that just makes me feel the best. And it is more than I wanted to spend, but I have a lot of savings from tour, so I can spend it. And then hopefully while I'm living here, I can find other areas that I like and maybe find somewhere cheaper. But this is like ideal location, ideal everything for like the first like year of me figuring everything out. It's like really close to everything. All the other places that I saw, I kind of felt like about and I didn't feel quite right about, and parts of it I did, and then parts of it I was like, I just don't know. I was like so anxious, and then seeing these today, I like felt way better, and I loved the first one that we saw, so we applied for it. So we sent the application, so we'll see if we get approved, and if I do get approved, then I'll probably be living there. These 2 that we saw today were in the Upper West Side, which I've always loved, you guys. Wow. It's a bougie area, so it's more expensive, but very nice. And it's like a studio that I applied for, and it's like really small, but it has like a nice kitchen and stuff, which was like important because a lot of them I'm like, okay. They have like a half fridge and like no microwave, or like the microwave is the oven, stuff like that. It's like, what is going on? You know, there's lots. It's just the shock of being from Texas and everywhere is like cheap and way nicer and bigger. Just the shock of that. But yeah, but it's really great. I'd be really happy there. So I'm super excited about it. And yeah, we'll see if we get approved. But if not, we have one other place that we're seeing in the Upper East Side tomorrow before we fly out tomorrow night. So I'm glad, because this morning I woke up and I was like, we're literally leaving tomorrow. Like, what if I don't find anything that I like? Like, oh, I'm so stressed out. And most of it was me just figuring out what I like and what I want. This is why people say to sublet. I get it. I know. Like, is that probably smarter to do? Like, yes, but I want to feel like I'm going in, set up my space exactly how I want, and it's not like someone else's space with like their furniture, you know, just get it all done right away and feel like more at home. And that was something super important, was that my first year in the city, I really like where I'm living. At least it's such a huge change for me, but that way at least that part of it is not like a huge adjustment, because I do like spending time in my apartment. So that was important. Very excited to finally find a place. And now that I like kind of figured out what I wanted, it made it easier. But I literally kind of felt crazy because I felt like every day I felt a different way. Like before I came here, I thought I wanted something completely different. First day I came, I was like, I'm not okay with that. Second day I was like, okay, wait, maybe I am okay with that. And then third day I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. Like back and forth, and I feel nuts. But apparently this is just kind of how it is if you're not from New York. I will let y'all know if I get that place or not. And there will of course be a whole move-in vlog and all of that jazz. Final update, I am home from New York, and like I said, we applied for the first one that I saw on Wednesday in the Upper West Side. I loved that place, and we did not get it, unfortunately. Just kidding. We did not get that exact unit, but fortunately, we still got an identical unit in the same building. It was a couple of floors down, but it still has just as good of a view. So that's amazing, and it is like $200 cheaper a month because it's lower, and it's like basically the same view. So I'm very happy about that. It was so annoying getting approved for this apartment, honestly, because my dad obviously is co-signing with me because I don't make enough money to get approved for an apartment in New York, just period. My dad is self-employed, so they cause a lot of issues when someone's self-employed. We had to do a third-party guarantor to get approved. We had to spend extra money that I wasn't planning on spending. What the heck? Super annoying. The New York apartment process is literally crazy. My tips and advice are to make sure you have all your documents ready. That way you can get applications in very quickly. That way you don't miss out on things. I cannot wait to move in. It's kind of super stressful because I don't have any furniture, so I have to figure out how to order it all and get it there. and it's less than 2 weeks out. I felt kind of crazy on this apartment hunt because I felt like I was changing my mind of what I wanted every single day. It was a very much back and forth debate with myself on, do I want less ideal area, more ideal apartment, or less ideal apartment, more ideal area? And the apartment that I signed the lease for is literally the most perfect area possible for me. Like, it's my dream area to live, and it's awesome. I am paying several $100s more a month than I wanted to, which is unfortunate and sad, but it's in a luxury building. But I am someone who needs to like really reset and refresh my apartment. I knew I did not want to feel locked in. Like, some of those, there was not really a view of anything. In the apartment I got, the view is like insane. My realtor was so awesome. She is a fellow actor as well, so she knows exactly where I need to go and everything and totally understands. Her name is Tyler Simone Franklin. If you want to check her out, she was great. I would totally recommend. After we left, she sent us even more videos of apartments in case we didn't get that one. After we got a different unit and not the exact unit I saw, she went back and FaceTimed me and showed me the exact unit to just double check the view is still really good and that it is exactly the same like they said, and it was. It worked out super amazing. I'm so excited to be moving to New York so soon. Long story short, after the last time you saw me, my grandma unexpectedly passed away. We left early and flew straight to Houston where she lives, and just been kind of out of town basically for the last 2 weeks, so it was crazy doing all of that while that was going on. Recently, my grandma and I talked about when she went to New York, and she was like, Camille, it was so safe and nice and clean, and New York's just not like that anymore. She went to New York in 1962, and I found these photos that she took while she was in New York, and oh my gosh, first of all, whoa, they're such good photos. I am going to frame them and hang them in my apartment. I'm so excited about that. Now I'm back home and able to focus on getting all the furniture that I need for the apartment. So stay tuned for that. There's gonna be a whole series on my channel of moving into this apartment. It's gonna be awesome. So my next part will be on me packing and ordering furniture and getting everything ready, and then we'll do one on moving in. Thank you so much for following along, and if you want to check out an audition vlog for when I had to fly up to New York from vacation, go check out that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.